Good morning again. I think we can already start. We pass some minutes from 10. So thank you all of you for joining us today, and of course to the different speakers and panelists for the kindly offer to present here today the projects. Before to start, I will present just, you can see now, yes. This is the short agenda for today. Okay, I will present shortly the circular project, but of course, after that we will go to the main core of the webinar, that is the different presentation. We have a keynote speech, circular transition in the furniture sector, design a strategy for product, business model, and ecosystem. And after that, we will have some presentation of European projects. As you know, this is the Women Leading Research and Development and Innovation for Circular Furniture Sector, that is part of our Women Leaders Circular Economy webinars that we have in the framework of the Circular Project. We have already did one of the webinars. It is available in the project website, and in October, November, we will have another webinar focusing in entrepreneurships and companies. As I said, I'm going to start with a very short presentation of the project, the Circular project, that is Circular Economy Transition Manager. This is an Erasmus plus project with the focus with objectives to develop a new job profile, the Circular Economy Transition Manager. And for that, we developed a complete joint curriculum and the educational resources for a new training course. This is, as I said, an Erasmus Plus project that started in 2024 and will end beginning of next year, that then has entail 9 countries with more than 1 million euros. Who is behind this project? We have 16 project partners from the 8 EU countries plus Ukraine. We have Furniture Business Association as Ambit or Federlegno, universities as KIT or the Politecnico of Milan, Research and Development Center as CETEN, where I work, and companies in learning as Method. This is the training course we have already developed. It has been, as I said, we have developed a full learning course on circular economy for the furniture sector that is already available in the training platform. There are 3 training levels: junior, intermediate, and advanced, that facilitates that the course could be adapted to any professional profiles. And the course is divided in 9 training modules plus a closing recap. And the student can learn all the key aspects of the circularity, from legislative and voluntary instrument to circular design, new circular business models, materials, technologies that boost circularity in the furniture sector, how to adapt manufacturing processes, or how to establish a circular economy transition strategy. For each of the different training modules, we have developed several training materials, videos, podcasts, interview, case study, and of course, the training reports. Additional to this, there is an interactive tool to make it more interesting or more engagement for the students. They have for each of the modules different podcasts and quizzes where the students can learn more, and this is available only in English, but I forget to say that the training course is translated into the different consortium language. So it's available in Spanish, in Italian, in Ukrainian, and so on, okay? There is also an assessment tool where the students or companies can answer some question, and depending of the knowledge, current knowledge of the different question, the assessment tool provides some suggestion of which modules or which fields should be studied in depth. Of course, the course is certificate in micro-credential certification, so for each of the fields, that you need to pass a kind of exam, a quiz, okay? And once you pass with the, I think it's 60% of approved questions, you get a certificate for each of the micro credential that is they are also explaining in each of the certificates. As I said, all the training courses already available and is you can access through the um, website of the project that is here, circular-furniture.eu, okay? But I don't want to waste more time in this today, to spend more time on that. I think we should go directly to the main topic of our webinar, that is our women leading circular furniture sector with different research and development projects. And for that, our key speaker or our key panelist today, the first one is Xu that is assistant professor the design and strategies research lab of the Polytechnic of Milan. And she's going to speak about circular transition in the furniture sector, design strategy for product, business model, and ecosystem. So the floor is yours, Shupei, and at the end of her presentation, you will have time also to have some questions through the chat, okay?
Thank you for introduction. And I'm trying to share my screen. Yeah. I hope you can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation from the Circularity project, and thank you for all the audience being here. I'm very happy today to share with you some of my past year research experience findings, but as well as some experience from the project I have been working on. And the topic, as already you see, that what we're trying to understand is which are the designers and the specific strategic designers can contribute to this very complex challenge of circular transition. And I would also want to highlight in this topic is that the designers are not the traditional design professionals, that we should look at all these challenges also from a different perspective, looking at the intervention at the product business model level, service level, but as well as understand how a systemic perspective we should also include in order to provide contributions and interventions in this challenge. Very short introduction about myself, but as well as my research group. I'm currently assistant professor at the design department of Polytechnic Milano, and I'm more focusing research on the strategic design for innovation, but as well as looking at how design can facilitate, but as well as leverage changes inside the organization, but as well in a more complex systems. I have been visiting in different European universities and especially on the topic of strategic design and sustainable as well as circular transition in the past 2 years. I'm inside a research unit and research group called Design Plus Strategies, and where many of us, my different professors and other my colleagues, were focusing on understanding the strategic value of design. So not considering design as a traditional product design or fashion design or interior design. We're looking at the design more as a method as well as a approach to face the different challenges on the market and well as in society. So our aim is trying to apply but also promote the applying of this design method and tools to support innovation inside the organization, but as well as systemic challenges. So basically, what are the main three topics in my research group is we understand the role of strategic design inside the organization. We're trying to understand how design can facilitate the sustainable transition. We're also trying to understand if the design method and tools can be a cross-fertilization approach to support also creative industries. Just to start to focusing on a little bit how we look at strategic design inside this complex of circular and circularity transition process. Going back a little bit from a very theoretical research perspective, you can see that this is one of the most well-known and well-established framework about design for sustainability. And here, very clearly, you can see that the understanding and the analysis about how design can contribute to sustainability can be divided into the different levels. So starting from how designers can select the right material or redesign the new materials into how the product design should be reconsidered in order to make the product last longer, or considering the whole life cycle of a product. Going a little bit further, that the designer's role also contribute to reconsidering if we can do something more than creating a new product. So how the service system or concept should be considered as a subject to design and to redesign. Going a little bit more towards complex as well as a systemic level, designers are also actively participating in spatial and social activities, as well as understanding which is the role, but how we can contribute also to a more social technical systemic changes, and where we can understand what is the role unique as a designers that can contribute to this kind of a change. So this framework, I think, provide a very fundamental, but as well as a clear perspective to relook at the design and relook at the role of design, especially that going beyond the product material, where traditionally we think designers are dealing with a concrete object, but looking at how designers' role can extend into reconsider how a service can be implemented, as well as how we can drive or leverage changes at a more complex systemic level. Based on this framework with other colleagues, in the past years, we have been working a lot in a very specific sector, a manufacturing sector. We kind of started to also trying to apply that very theoretical framework into understanding how we can support manufacturing to make innovation towards a sustainable transition. So we kind of developed a new way to look at which might be the new object or new subject that designers can contribute to. So again, moving at the product-centric level into which is a way that we can facilitate changes at the organization level, reconsider which kind of business pattern they can develop, and also maybe reconsider not only thinking about the environmental, economic sustainable, but what about the social aspect of sustainability, and as well as traditional manufacturing company, how they can integrate the different aspects of the sustainability. Also going a little bit beyond, we also worked with companies to engage their own stakeholders in the supply chain, but sometimes also in the value chain, to understand how they can collaborate in order to reflect on a ecosystem level, where the roles of designers even going beyond the organizational level. And thanks to this kind of reflections as well as research activities, we understand that there's an important concept of servitization can be a very strategic direction to support the manufacturing company to move, on one hand, being more competitive, that they change not only producing and selling product, but into providing a kind of a service system. From another side, this kind of approach or the concept of servitization, if it is well designed or well considered, it can also support the company to achieve sustainability and circularity. Therefore, inside this change, we understand that there are three important elements that we need to make, let's say, good use of it, or we need to balance and manage the relationship between the different elements from a material level, product level, but as well as a service and business model level. So how a new service system can reconsider the business model, for example, we can see later in from the cases that not only selling a product, but how we can provide a different type of services that the business can create a new value generation logic. But in this case, if the product is no longer sold to customers, how the product should be redesigned and which kind of materials are the right one to support this kind of services and business model. Therefore, we started many cases, but as well as thanks to many companies that are collaborating with us in different projects, we kind of identified the 5 different approaches where manufacturing companies can start to think about the different types of services that they can develop or they can provide on the market in order to intervene at the different phases of a product life cycle. For example, starting from the very less complex one, providing maintenance and repair services, where you can support the customers or engage in the customers into extend the user phase, make the product last longer. However, there are also, well, if you move to the right, there are different level of complexity that increase in terms that there are companies that can provide take back services. They can provide also second-hand reselling services, both from the company to the customer, but as well as among the customers. There are also initiatives called service as a system. We can service as furniture as a service. We can see later in the case study where the new business model is changing the different phases of a product life cycle, where you need to rethink about how to distribute this service, how to manage the transportation of the product, but as well as how the product should be redesigned in order to facilitate this kind of reuse. And then we also consider the product and the services is not only at the organizational level. If we need to reconsider how to reconfigure the value chain, maybe the relationship between the different actors involved in the system can be also changed. Later we can see a case that they're trying to redesign the relationship between the different stakeholders in the system in order to provide a service where they reduce kind of also the distance for transportation. So just to provide some very concrete cases from some pioneer furniture companies. For example, this Dutch company, Harand, is kind of one of the pioneers launched the service furniture as a service on the market. They are focusing on the workplace sector, where the companies are no longer buying specific product from the manufacturing company. Instead, they kind of paying a monthly fee where they can get not only the product but as well as the maintenance repair services. But then they also at the end of the product use stage, the company also in charge of taking it back. As another case is called Open Desk, as one of the most interesting cases I mentioned at the systemic level. Here, they kind of changed the traditional way of produce as well as sell a product, where they trying to launch this online platform where customers can select the product, and then this design of the product, but as well as the way that the product can be produced, all this digital document will be sent to a local producer, where this local producer is very near the final customer. So in this way, they don't need to produce the product in advance, but they make on-demand production. And since the product is produced kind of locally, so very near the final customer. This also in terms of how it is contributing to the environmental impact of the whole process is a lot reduced, thanks to the reduce of the distance from the destination of the product and the production location. So this is also a very interesting case to reconsider how to change the relationship of whole system where you can redesign the logic of value creation, and in this way you kind of providing a kind of a win-win-win solution. Another quite interesting case is what we find from a case study from Sweden, where they kind of create a new kind of commercial center near the recycling station of the city, where they instead of use take the product directly for recycling or use directly the material. They try to engage both the citizens but as well as the companies to reflect on how they can deal with this use the product or some product already at the kind of end life of their life cycle, and they kind of create this very concept shopping mall where the concept is you bring a second-hand product, but you don't throw it directly for recycling. You think about how to give the value to this new product. They also provide a kind of educational training activities, also to engage a different role and a different target to have the capability to maybe make a repurpose of a product or reuse of the product, but as well as think about how to give also a value on the market about the product. So this is also another interesting case where if we are able to redesign the relationship of some stakeholders engaged in the system, we can rethink about new solutions and as well as a new business to be offered on the market. Therefore, with this, thanks to some project that we have been working on, maybe one of the projects that will be also discussed by my colleague later, we kind of understand that if we want to kind of apply this servitization approach, we should starting at the system and at the service and the business model level, but we also need to make a good balance and understand better how the product level as well as the material level, how they can contribute to the whole redesign and reconsideration about a new type of services, but as well as other actors, other stakeholders who are kind of outside the organization, and how we as a designer can manage this kind of relationship. So in some of the project, we kind of developed a kind of overview about all the possible business model that can be applied in the furniture manufacturing sector, and how this strategies as well as a business model can guide different companies to explore, but as well as reflect on which direction of new business model they can develop in order to achieve a kind of sustainability and circularity. So this is a part of a project that we developed in Revolve project. We kind of provide this overview, but as well as a specific business case card to guide the company to know about the different type of services and the business model they can develop towards circularity, but as well as we're kind of providing them a specific case where they can look a little bit more in depth and to learn directly from them. As well as from another perspective, we highlight that circularity cannot stand by themselves. It is also very important to consider remain the competitiveness on the market. So for many manufacturing company, we are trying to also promote this idea of a circular economy together with that's the idea of this is another very important opportunity to help them being also competitive on the market. So just to say at the end, I would like to mention that going towards a new product service system is not easy. Many companies are facing different barriers. So from some studies, we understand that there are product at the product level, the product need to redesign and reconsidered. We have also barriers at the organizational level where there's a finance economic barriers, but they also need new capabilities in order to support organization, but as well as different roles to have the capability to do what they need to do. And it isn't something new compared to what they were doing before. And there are a lot of barriers at the systemic level, where you need to establish and create new relationships, and you need to understand how to communicate this into the consumer's perspective, but as well as we need also support new policies in order to facilitate as well as promote this kind of initiatives. And yeah, and I would like to stop here. I hope that this is clear, and I'm very happy to share this kind of experience we got from last years of research, but also experience in project. If you have some questions, please feel free to ask, but maybe also you can write in the chat. And yeah, I just at the end, I will also share the presentation. And there's my email if you are happy to have a chart or there are other questions. So for sure, I'm happy to receive any of them.
Thank you, Shu.
Thank
Very
you.
interesting presentation, and we have the opportunity to see how new business models could be implemented in the furniture sector, but also with current examples of companies working on that. I don't know if we have any questions. For sure, you can, as he said, you can write directly in the chat, or you can go. I don't know if you can now see my screen. I think so.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. If we don't have any questions, but you can write in the chat at any moment, or as Xiupei has said, we will share all the presentation also in the after the webinar. Okay. So now we have a stained list of key panelists to present different projects. We will start with Sinem Hali, industrial designer and PhD candidate at the Istanbul Technical University. She will speak about designing before abandonment, behavioral fit and use phase circularity in industrial design. So, Sinem, the floor is yours.
Okay. Hello. Let me first share my screen.
Maybe I need to stop. Now we can see.
Yeah, but it's not full screen yet. Yeah. Hello, nice to meet you. I will close my camera, but I'll be talking for internet reasons. Okay. Okay. Good morning, and thank you for the team, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I am Sinem Halle. As I said, I'm an industrial designer, and I'm also a design researcher. Today, I start with one piece from my own work. I use it to ask one simple question, a question about circular design. Not only how we make products, not only how we recover them, but also how we keep them in use. This is Parawood. It's an awarded plywood wall piece. It's also a published design study. Parawood is a circular in how it's made. We cut it in layers. The empty space from one layer becomes the shape of the next layer. So one cut gives us two parts. The reuse inside the making. It's not recycling after. Waste is reduced by design. We use the same idea in other Neodeco products too. This is circularity we know well. It's the production side. I use it as a door to a part we talk about less. But the real surprise was not in the making. It came after the piece left the workshop. It came from what the buyers wrote in their public reviews. Owners hung it in different ways: vertical, horizontal, even upside down. One review said the surface looks new as the light changes, so the piece stays interesting over time. One review touched my heart. A buyer gave it to a blind person. In their words, he was mesmerized. He kept running his hands over the surface. He lived the piece through touch, not through sight. None of this was about the strength. It was about the attachment. The piece stayed in use because people kept a bond with it. This is the part of circularity I want to focus on today. Let's look at a whole life of a product. As a field, we look closely at the production. That's how we make things. We also look at the end of life. That's how we recover them. The piece I showed does both well. That's the production side. That's the production side, but there's a middle part, the use phase. Is the product really used? Is it kept? This is where I see the opportunity. One line for today is simple. The most circular product is the one we keep using, and we keep what fits us. It's not reuse or resale. It's about fit. Fit at the moment of choice. Firewood stayed in use for a reason. People built a bond with it. But in most theory, that bond happens by chance. It's hard to predict. I think we can do better as designers. We can plan for it. We can plan for it from the start. We can read it from a person's profile at the moment of choice. I will not show data today, but in my doctoral research, I worked with it with temperament. It's observed as personality. My work suggests something simple. This fit is tied how long we keep something. So the shift is simple. From hoping a bond forms to designing for it. So let's go back to furniture, not as a proof, but as an invitation to explore together. In adults, this fit is already known. Research links personality to our preferences. It links personality to our choices. Furniture is a natural place for this. The buyer is an adult. The piece stays in home for years. And here, the loss is slow. Fit and attachment fade over time. They fade as homes, tastes, and lives change. So my question is simple. Could a better fit keep pieces in use longer? A better fit at the moment of choice. Let me be honest about the limits. The toy work is based on data, 3 articles printed. But the furniture side is only a hypothesis for now. I don't have a furniture data yet. I will not pretend the system simply transfers, but the open questions are real. What's the right profile for a furniture buyer? How do we measure fit over years, not days? How do we build a bond that lasts, a bond that resists the wish to replace? But the main idea travels. The most circular product is the one we keep using. So let us design for the fit at the moment of choice. Thank you. I would be glad to keep the conversation going. So here's our QR codes for my webpage, LinkedIn, and email. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Sinem.
Thank you.
I don't know if you have any questions, because now I cannot see the...
Okay, then. I stop sharing.
Now I can see. Here. Okay, thank you, Sinem. As I said, if you have any question, this is the time, or you can write in the chat. And we go with the next presentation. This is about the Revolve project already mentioned by Shu at the beginning. The presentation is done by Angelica Teach, Deputy Chair of the Interdisciplinary Research Center for Technology, Work and Culture. So, Angelica, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Juan. I'm going to share my slides. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. So hello to everyone. Thank you to Joanjo for inviting me to this webinar. Like Joanjo already said, I coordinate the project Revolve. So here you see the title. So it's Roll Out Systemic Change to Evolve the Furniture Industry Towards Circular Economy through the implementation of innovative circular economy business models, material and design strategies, and the digital product passport. So in this title, our whole goals are included, and I'm going to speak a little bit more about these goals and our process. So I just wanted to say a word about myself. I work as a researcher and a project manager in the Interdisciplinary Research Center for Technology, Work and Culture. And this research center is based in Graz in Austria. I coordinate the project, and our main goal, and I have always this chat in my, I have to close the chat. Okay. So Revolve in a nutshell, what are we doing in our project? Our main goal is to support the EU furniture industry in aligning with the eco-design for sustainable products regulation. And we develop and test tools to support the implementation of CE-oriented product system innovations. We call it CE-oriented product system innovations. And what do we mean by that? We think that these product system innovations have two parts. So the first is the CE-oriented business models. The second is the circular product design. The third is the circular material strategies. So we focus on recycled and bio-based material. And we see the digital product passport as an enabler. And for this, we are developing a governance framework. So this governance framework includes rules that will not be part of the delegated act on the digital product passport. So for example, the quality of the data that is going to be implemented in the digital product passport. And the three first parts of the product system innovations are all led by Polyme, this university in Milan. And mostly the two first are also worked on by Shu Pei, who gave us her speech, the main speech at the beginning, and she already tackled some of the tools that she's going to develop in our project. She already developed it. So some of these tools that Shu presented in her presentation are included in our Revolve project. So for example, the cards for the circular economy business models were developed in Revolve and will be also shared in our project. So oh, I have problems. Yes. Okay. So when we break down this big goal of ours to three smaller goals, so we in our project will at least we want to have 30 innovative redesigns of furniture projects. We will also support at least 35 companies to implement circular economy-oriented business models, which are accepted by the consumer. And our DPP governance framework should be implemented as a digital tool at least by 19 companies. So these are our goals. And here is an overview of the project process. So our project has a duration of 4 years. So you see it at the bottom, yeah. So it started in November 2024 and will end 4 years later in October 2028. And we started with research. So we developed the CE-oriented product system innovations, guidelines, frameworks, etc. And currently we are testing the developed CE-oriented product system innovations in 9 pilots. And once the testing is over, we will take the results that we have and develop training materials and do trainings. And then in the not only the 4th year, but we already start at 3 and so in October 27, a bit earlier, we will start a large-scale implementation of our training tools, yeah? So we will have 50 companies from the furniture sector, and we want to support them in implementing mainly business models, product design strategies, material strategies, and the DPP. So some of the companies will select not only a business model, but only a product design strategy. Others will only focus on the DPP. So we are currently in the process of identifying the 50 companies, and then we will see which of the company is doing what. Okay, so you see here the partners of our project. We have 24 partners, 6 manufacturers, 1 retailer, 1 IT expert. We have 9 associations from the furniture sector and 7 research organizations, with Polimi as one of our main research partner. You also see Federlenio Arredo with Chiara Terraneo in the middle of the picture. She's also a partner of us. And here on my nearly last slide, you see where our partners are sitting, are based. So we have partners from Spain, from Italy. Us, we sit in Austria. We are the only partner from Austria. We have partners in Slovenia, in Germany, and in Denmark, and EFIC as a partner in Brussels, in Belgium. And I made you see here, some of them are, the dots have a violet rand, so a bit of violet. And there you see the organizations where the women are the main partners in our, the project manager in these organizations that take care of the Revolve project are women. And you see that we have about 50% of the organizations that take part in our project are led or are managed. The project is managed by women. Okay, and then here you have the website from our Revolve project. So if you were interested in our project, please go to revolvepoint.eu. And here you have my contact details. And if you have any question, please ask them. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation.
Thank you, Angelica. So nice presentation, and nice to see that at least half of the managers are women. I'm
Yes.
going to try.
Thank you, the managers. Yes, that was the word that I was looking for.
So, if there are no questions, we jump to the next project, and we change with one Horizon project that is the Revolve to one Interreg project that is the CEO circular solution for the future of office furniture. In this case, it's led by Britta Peters, manager at the Hamburg Institute for Innovation, Climate Protection and Circular Economy. So, Britta.
Yes, perfect. Thank you very much. Can you see the presentation by now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, perfect. Thank you to all. My name is Britta Peters. I'm from Hamburg, and I work for this company with the super long title, Hamburg Institute for Innovation, Climate Protection and Circular Economy. and we are lead partner in this project, Circular Economy Office. So it has a focus on office furniture. And yeah, well, I probably don't need to tell you about the challenges and how much furniture is being discarded or thrown away every year. You are all expert in that field, but it's actually a lot. It's a huge amount in terms of waste and resources that in the EU are annually being incinerated or landfilled. And at the same time, it needs a lot of energy and resources to produce new furniture. And a lot is changing at the workplace sector at the moment. Many offices do work differently now, both public and private. After the pandemic, home offices, regular desk sharing has become very common. So many organizations change their office furniture right now. And we don't know how long we will work the way we work at the moment. So it might change very frequently from now on. So office furniture needs to be flexible, modular to actually make that change. Otherwise, we throw away even more of our resources. The project Circular Economy Office is, as Juanjo rightly said, an Interreg Northey project, and it just ended at the end of May. So we are actually in the moment of wrapping up. We have a lot of projects, results, and tools that we like to share. And some of them I would like to show to you. So the idea is to move from linear to circular in the whole office furniture sector. And we have seen some examples of R&D and others as well. So some companies have started the circular transition, but many haven't, or some have only made first steps. So our idea is, if we say we want to transform the whole sector, to get all along and all on that journey, not only the circular pioneers, but also those who do not really know how to start, where to start, who need examples and some tools to assist them. One aspect is design, since the design phase is responsible for 80 to 90% of the circular impact an office furniture piece has later on. It's super important to think in the design phase of circular strategies. How can we set up furniture that we can easily dismantle, easy repair, or at least recycle at the end? What materials do we choose? What materials do we not choose that we don't want to have inside? So this is a key aspect of our project is circular design, or has been circular design. And also, as I mentioned, the workplace story, because this is our entry point in many organizations and companies at the moment. There's a lot of change happening, and there is often offices are being changed that have been furnished 5-8 years ago. So there is a lot that could be reused, that could be adapted, that could be made flexible and modular. It's also a climate story. We have a strong focus on highlighting that if you actually have circular office furniture, you can save CO2 reductions or emissions. Also in the production of new furniture, there's a lot of emissions inside. And this is also an entry point for companies to say, well, yes, if we can actually save CO2 by keeping furniture in the cycle, that's interesting for us. We are still at the beginning. The CO2 calculations vary, the methodologies vary. There's no common standard yet, but we have been diving deeper into this, looking at different methodologies, different outcomes, and have some ideas and recommendations how to harmonize the CO2 reduction methodologies. It's, of course, also an economic story. It's about new business models. We have heard this already. And yes, we heard also reuse has the highest value. But there are also many good examples. We heard about office furniture lease or renting as a service. So I think, and we have come across a number of actors who have actually already changed their business model out of an economic situation. For example, moving companies who used to do a lot of moves in the office sector say at the moment, well, there is less move because people do share offices. They have desk sharing, so we don't need to move inside one company up and down and so on. So we need a new business model anyway. We need a new market. So, and since they often are called to discard or dispose the old furniture and think, well, this is actually still good. This is design pieces. This is still functioning and working. That's where they started from own interest of changing their business model from not only doing moves, but also doing refurbishment, cleaning, and reuse offerings. We have also focused on some enablers because next to design, business models, climate aspects, you need some tools, you need some practical things, you need the right legislations. A huge potential is in circular office procurement, so public procurement. Cities and regions have a great potential to make some influence and introduce change and lead by good example, but you also need new skills. We heard this also in that in the Circular project. I mean, this is focusing on these new skills. I think this has an opportunity for job creation, and we need a lot more cross-sector collaborations. In particular, procurement does need to happen differently if you want to do it circular. Oops, this looks a bit strange. I don't have enough time to focus on our pilots, but we have 7 pilots in the North Sea region that focus on several of these aspects and test them and bring practical experience from product design, from building prototypes of new modular furniture, but also circular textiles is one of our partners. What I would like to recommend to you is we have some takeaways and tools. We have developed 3 guidelines, one on the legal framework, one on circular design for office furniture, and one on circular business models. They are available on our website for download. And we have also developed a circular maturity indicator. So for companies and organizations, you can at the beginning choose, are you either an office furniture provider, designer, manufacturer, or are you a user like a city or region who's doing, or a company who's procuring offices? And then you can make an assessment guided by questions that lead you to see, where do I stand? And as I mentioned, how circular is my company? How circular are my operations? Because we want to show everybody can do something, even if you are starting that journey. And we have, this is our final product, which you can download from our webpage. It's a manifesto. It's like a coffee table book. We really tried not to produce an EU standard report, but something that is nice to see. We have a lot of actors from the sector that are being interviewed who are not even part of the project. A lot of case studies, pilots are presented. So go to our website, download it. You also find several videos from either training sessions or pilots, and we would be very happy to share. Get in touch with me if you want to get to know more. It's very difficult to put 3 years of a project and all the results into 8 to 10 minutes. So this is an introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. It's nice to see all the work you have done in these 3 years projects. Before to go to the next presentation, we have a question that I'm going to read it, okay? It's general question for any of the panelists. It said, can you provide some insights regarding the relationship between innovative, sustainable materials and design, particularly bio-based and recycled materials? For example, how designers are dealing with new materials. Are new materials facilitating or challenging innovative design and business models? How research and development can facilitate the dialogue between new materials and designers? So it's a big question, open for any of you. I don't know if Shu or maybe Sinem as expert in design. Or Britta also has the...
I can start since we have this one partner, Enschede Textilstad, who is a weaving company for recycled yarns. So they have been doing a lot of tests with recycled yarns made out of production waste. And I know that one of their main discussion points is that, in particular in textiles for furniture, you have these kind of stress tests. I don't know exactly the unit in which you measure it, but so and so many thousands of something needs this textile need to be very robust. And at the same time, this makes it a bit difficult for recycled yarn. But who is using a sofa set in an office for 25 years? No one is doing it. And it's in an office a different kind of use that you have. So does it really need to have that high level of robustness in an office for a sofa set? And this is somehow blocking the use of the recycled materials. So we have been discussing a lot that it also needs some kind of different standards and regulations that enable the use of the recycled materials.
Thank you, Britta. Any of the panelists would like to add?
Maybe I just
Anything else?
want to add a answer from my side. I'm not the expert or specific designer that are working directly with the material, but as I mentioned a little bit in the presentation I shared, I think it's important that the people who are designing new material or trying to understand how to apply this new types of material should have a kind of mindset, not only focusing on the material itself, but thinking about how it's related to the product, but as well as related to the business model. Considering that that the material is not only impacting how users are interacting with the product, but it's also related to how the company at the end, maybe how they can take it back, how they can reuse it or recycle it. So I think it's again also related to what we try to educate the future designers. You should have a vertical knowledge, but at the same time, you also need to have a horizontal perspective to think about how your vertical expertise should be also linked to other aspects of this sector. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important to take this into account since the beginning, as you said. So now we jumped to the lab, and we speak a lot about the design, but we go to the end of the value chain, to the recycling. So we are going to present the Purely project polyurethane foam recycling technology through green chemistry Catalysis. This is going to be presented by Virtudes Navarro, that is Head of Materials, Adhesion and Polymers area at the Technical Center of Furniture and Wood at CETEM.
Thanks for the introduction and thanks for the invitation to this webinar. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my presentation?
Yeah, now we can see.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm going to present the project, Polyurethane foam recycling technology through green chemistry catalysis. This project is a national Spanish project of research and development to promote the collaboration between private and public entities. The project arises from the problems related with flexible polyurethane foams waste. These material, flexible polyurethane foams, are commonly used in different types of products, mainly in furniture and bedding products as cushioning material, and also in other sectors such as automotive in setting. And the use, wide use is due to the optimal properties such as insulation, comfort, and cushioning. According to European data, the production volume of this type of materials is around 1 million of tons per year. And each year, a volume of waste around 675 tons is generated. Of this, only 17% is recycled. The rest is landfill or is incinerated. To meet the objective established by the European Commission related with the reuse and recycling of household waste, is necessary to promote the treatment of this polyurethane waste to recover raw materials and increase the degree of recycling of this type of materials. At the present, there are different recycling processes implemented at the industrial scale. One of them is, for example, hydrolysis, other is glycolysis, but this process requires high temperature and pressure conditions, make them highly energy consuming process. So in this way, it is considered necessary to develop a more sustainable, efficient, and versatile technological solution for recycling flexible polyurethane foam waste to be reused in a new formulation and closing in this way the loop of the production process of the materials and impart circularity. This solution we will name as Polyurethane technology. What is polyurethane technology? Well, polyurethane technology is a chemical process, but it's based in green chemistry catalysis to the polymerase flexible polyurethane foam. You can see in this image different stages of this process. The process starts with flexible polyurethane foams, and after around the process, this material disappears, is depolymerized in the media, and at the end we can obtain a white solid that is possible to incorporate in the new formulations. Polyurethane technology offers some advantages respect to recycling technologies implanted today in the industry, such as a higher quality of the product, a more efficient and better control process, making it more suitable for industrial application. In addition to certain, in the consortia developing Polyurethane project are involved two industrial partners, Interplast, the largest European producer of flexible polyurethane foam, and Gomarco, the fourth largest bedding product manufacturer of the world. In the project, they will investigate the incorporation of recycled material into a new formulation of flexible polyurethane foam and develop a prototype of matrix to test these new formulated foams. Also, in the consortia, we come with two scientific groups, a group of sustainable chemistry at the University of Murcia and the group of sustainable and supramolecular chemistry at Jaume I University, and they will optimize critical reaction variables of the polyurethane technology and adapt and reproduce the technology with different types of polyurethane waste. And certain as technological research center will implement polyurethane technology at pilot scale. In this slide, outlines the overall strategy of Polyurethane project. We will follow a stepwise approach from laboratory research to industrial validation. First, the depolymerization process will be optimized at laboratory scale and test with different formulation of flexible polyurethane foams. Recycled materials will then incorporate it in new formulation of flexible polyurethane foam, and the properties and performance will be tested to assess that are appropriate for the applications of interest. After the optimization of the technology, pilot scale tests will be carried out to test the technology under realistic conditions. Finally, the recycled material will be used to develop real prototypes, such as matrices, demonstrating the industrial applicability of the technology. By the end of the project, we expect to have developed an innovative catalytic recycling technology for flexible polyurethane foams with the potential to be adapted to other plastic waste streams, to recover valuable depolymerization products that can be used in foam production and other chemical applications, to develop new sustainable foam formulation using recycled materials will maintain the required performance properties, to validate recycled content foam for bedding and upholstery application with potential use in other sectors such as automotive and footwear sectors, to deliver a sustainable matrix prototype that demonstrates the feasibility of producing high high value products from recycled polyurethane waste. And that is everything from my side. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any question.
Thank you, Bertudes. So we see how important it is to close also the cycle at the end of this of the polyurethane of the mattress waste. And now we go to the last panelist, this Francesca Sciodaroli, Environmental and Circular Economy Technical Specialist at Federlegno Arredo, that is the Italian Federation of the Furniture Industry, that she will present the Farm Cycle Project, Circular Economy Guideline and Tools for Application in the EU furniture sector.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, and thank you for the invitation. Now I share my screen. Do you see?
Yeah, we can see perfectly.
Perfect. So yeah, first let me briefly introduce myself as the other panelists. So I'm Francesca Chiodaroli. As I said, I am an environmental specialist at Federlegno Arredo, that is the Italian federation that represents the wood furniture design industry and all the supply chain. And we want to bring in together companies from the production to finish furniture, so panel and furniture. We have one of the main objectives is promote the sustainability, the innovation, the international competitiveness in Italy. So I work on sustainability and environmental regulatory. So for the compliance and there are a lot of challenges related to circular economy, waste, also packaging, emission, energy, also the environmental reporting. And I'm involved in the implementation of the European project focused on sustainability and circular economy. So this webinar is focused on women leading R&D&i for a circular furniture sector. So for me, it's important to highlight how the contribution of the female team in the European Project Office represent a strategic driver for the innovation in the sector. And on the right in the slide, you can see the professional who currently have worked on our project, on the project involving Italian companies. And we have an European project office that plays a key role in identifying the funding opportunities, the priorities of the European priorities, and translating them into competitive project proposal. So these surely require a strong combination of organizational, analytic, coordination skill, and we want to build and maintain these international partnership, as well as monitoring the project, also the outcome, and ending reporting activities. So the contribution of the female team is particularly evident, and I work in the environmental office, but the dimension of precision, strategic vision, and relation skills also are the dimension that is essential in Federlegno Arredo and in this European project. In particular, Federlegno Arredo involved now in 8 European projects in different topics. The activity is also with EFIC, the European Furniture Industry Confederation, which represents the interest of the furniture sector at European level. So it's closely integrated with the work carried with the federation, Italian federation. And today we want to focus on one of the project that is First Circle. This is an European project which aims to develop a set of practical tools to support the Italian and also European companies in circular and sustainable transition, and started in 2023 and did the last year, so in 2025, led by Federlegno Arredo, and the project includes EFIC and Ambit. Ambit is the Catalan cluster of furniture companies. So this is the partner, and it is co-financed by the European Commission under the program of the Social Dialogue. So today we look quickly one of 2 specific tasks developed thanks to this project. The first one is the survey, a survey among the European companies that is shared to outline the state of the art of the transition, of sustainable transition, and also a guide to the circular and sustainable transition that is not also a guideline but handbook with examples, good practice, solution, among that is just in place among the European sector. And on the slide, we can see the different links. You will find the direct links to the material that we referred, and in particular there is in the downloads section of the website. So let's talk about the survey. The survey aimed to measure the company maturity level over time by collecting and analyzing the data about furniture industry circular transition. We focus on 4 main themes: the development of a circular economy, circular practices in the company, the product information, the sustainability management, and legislation awareness. So the questions were structured around 5 levels. So we need to imagine 5 levels of maturity, each describing a progressively advanced application of circular economy principle. And yes, okay, we have collected more than 100 responses. The main sector represented in this survey were office, hospitality furniture, living room, dining room furniture, and chairs, and we can see also the other. In particular, there are small and medium enterprises. And given the limited time today, I will only highlight some key findings, but the document, the global full analysis is available online. This is the country, yeah. So in particular, companies were asked to identify the maturity level, as I said, so 5 level that we can see. One example, 5 level for each of 3 reference years, that is 2021, the recent past, 2024, because the survey is conducted in 2024, so 2024 was the present, and 2027, the near future. In the example on the graph on the left, there is the combining level 4 plus 5, the company with the higher maturity, and illustrated the project development of 4 different services: circular design principle, after sales service, rental service, take back service over the year, no, 20, okay. There, yeah, we can see, no, there is a strong trend toward increasing the adoption of circular design principle, no, in orange, and after sales service in blue, with both expected to see significant growth in 2025, in 2027. This suggests a shift towards more sustainable and customer focused business practice. In the rental and take back service also have a growth, but is a slower growth, reflecting a gradual increase in their adoption. So the overall trend suggests that companies are increasingly recognize the importance of sustainability and customer service in the operation and in the production. And on the right, there is one example of the results. So the chart all blue. There is the adoption of circular design principle over 3 years, and the percentages are distributed across the 5 different levels that we see. And this indicates the extent to which companies have embraced this principle. It shows a clear, now 2021, 2027, a clear trend towards increasing the adoption, because there is the level 1 and the darker is the level 5, an increasing adoption of circular design principle over the time, while more than half of the company had not adopted the 52 had not adopted this principle at the start in 2021. This figure that in 2027 there is a decrease, an increase significantly. So yeah, to also know at the country 7%, 44%. So yeah, a very big growing sustainability design practices, and also more environmental responsible business operation. This is the. Now let's talk about the guide. The guide is developed with the focus on different practical and operation overview, practical for the main best practice, main strategies for circular transition in furniture sector, in furniture industry, and serves as a tool, a reference tool for the company, for the furniture manufacturer, the design, all the figure, the retails, the distribution, and other stakeholders in wood furniture supply chain. It offers a clear view of key principles, explore the main challenges company face, and highlight also the opportunity, because there is, I highlight now 30 strategies and 300 practical cases. So is the, okay. The guide is composed of several sections. Each detail, I want to say that each detail is displayed through a QR code. So if you want to read or to open the document later, in the QR code you can see all the material, and the topic and chapters are the follow. So for this webinar, design phase, material resources phase, all production phase, distribution phase, the use phase, and the end of life. All the life cycle of a product. And we are facing environmental, economic, and social challenges that demand a resilient and sustainable system. One capable of combining growth with responsibility. In this context, the wood furniture industry plays a strategic role because we have not only an economic driver, but also an ideal laboratory for this type of transition, for this circular transition. And the guide, the goal of the guide in the sector is to reduce waste, enhance resource value, turn systemic limits into an opportunity, thanks to this example. The design, as we said also now in this morning, the design plays a decisive role, and not only in the production appearance, but above all the life cycle. Most of the products, environmental impacts of the products is determined at the design stage. The same principle applies at company level. So planning the actions and strategies in advance help to prevent, reduce, even eliminate the dangerous impacts. So therefore, it is crucial to introduce the sustainability criteria from the early planning stages, and the guide encourage to explore further the specific strategy that is now just in use in different company. And thanks to this differentiation in different phases, each should be evaluated according to the company context, also to the products, the products type, and we said that even small, the target action can generate long-term results. So the strategies are represented as a toolbox, and not all are suitable for every case, as I said, but some may even help. And for this, we also classified the different circular, the decision making and the good practice in a different level. So easy for beginner, for a company that begin this transition, medium for those ready to take the further steps, and complex for the company that already advance in this topic. very important is the context. So the European Union that is established a legislative framework, and through a set of directive, company must be aware and comply with. There is a section, dedicated section in the guide for this reason, and yeah, this is the most important today. Only last thing is that some of the most significant challenges, as expressed as anche by FIC, which proactively identify the standardization priorities to support the European policies legislation. So there are, for example, the amount of waste generation, the shortage of raw materials, the higher energy cost, the consumer preferences. I read the slide, and there are also clear benefit across several areas. So the opportunity is to waste reduction, operational efficiency, increase the resilience, improve also the product quality, and improving public opinion. That is one of the topic, also the consumer and public opinion. For me, it's all, and thank you very much. If there is question, I'm here.
Thank you, Francesca,
Thank you.
for your presentation. Okay, so if this was our last presentation of project today, I don't know if you have any comments, any doubt, you can write us or just in the chat or after the webinar. We will share the recording and also the presentations. Okay, so we will be in touch through emails in the following days. I'm going to try to. We will be in touch. I think today we have the opportunity to see interesting initiatives related with the circular economy and the furniture sector, and the most important with different perspectives and the value chain, and obviously all of them led by women that they have a lot to say here in this sector and in this particular topic. So thank again all of you for joining us today, for continuing until the end of the webinar, and to all the speakers for the kind participation here today. We can finalize now the webinar, and just to say thanks to all of you again, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you very much.